Jason Davis, and this is Empower Volusia, Common Sense. And we're coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden in the highlands of West Volusia County. And we are in the Iron Bunker, guarded by two rabid Pomeranians and one crazy cat. One of the rabid Pomeranians actually is, he's gotten quite comfortable while I'm in my little home studio here in the Iron Bunker. And he just lays here. He just loves to hear the old podcast. He sits here and wags his tail. He just loves it. But anyways, that's the old Skipper dog. Yes, Skipper the rabid Pomeranian. But anyways, digressing, you can hear us on Facebook, on YouTube. We're on Twitter and also on iTunes. So we're getting around. Things are doing very well. And I have to apologize. We haven't been getting as many podcasts out this week as normal, but we do live in Western Volusia County, up there in the Highlands in the Iron Bunker. And this little thing called Dorian is churning out there in the Atlantic Ocean. Today's date is the 30th of August. 30th? Wow, it's the 30th of August already. And 2019. And Dorian's out there churning right around, and we had to get the Iron Bunker ready for what may come. And we've been through a couple of these things before. And our hearts and minds and prayers go out for those people in South Florida, because it looks like Dorian's going to impact them first and then come up and knock on our door. And so best wishes to everybody down there. Be safe. Don't be stupid when the hurricane is going on and the wind is blowing and the rain is flying around and objects are flying around. By the way, speaking about objects flying around, if you have a swimming pool, the best thing in the world you can do with your swimming pool right today is throw your pool chairs and furniture into the pool. And you laugh, but at least they will not become flying objects to hurt someone or something. That's just a little safety hint there. But anyways, our prayers for the best for everybody in the state of Florida. Let's all hunker down and get ready. Don't be stupid. Don't be driving around out there in this stuff. Wait till it's gone. Wait till you're given the all clear before you leave, because that stuff is still dangerous after the storm. I know I was the county chair of Volusia County government, and we used to tell everybody, stay home till you get the all clear. Big thing you need to do, folks. Anyways, today, I've been kind of surfing on the internet. I've been from one end of the internet to the other, and I've been seeing a bunch of stuff here. Yeah, no, it's kind of really sad because, see, you know, there's a little argument going on the internet, on Facebook, between a couple of guys. One guy is a media outlet, and he does his own little media thing, kind of like what I do. I am a media outlet. I give you the truth. I give you news. I give you things. I give you comment. I give you opinion. That's what the news does. And we let you know what is what. Truth, opinion, fact, all that good stuff. But anyways, so this guy does this, and he has somebody that didn't like what he said, I guess, and he wrote him back a scathing letter, and he wrote back a scathing letter, and then the arguments kind of go back and forth a couple of times. Here's and also Facebook. I've got a couple of friends and family members who have been, put in Facebook jail, and so I want to address this little issue here about Facebook jail and these people in the lamestream media and local media outlets. And let me just say what's going on here. You know, in 1700s, late 1700s, 1778, somewhere around there, the Constitution of the United States was enacted. And it was actually ratified as law of the land at 1789. That's long after the Revolutionary War, long after the establishment of the United States as a nation, a sovereign country. And the reason being is because when they first, and this is the history that I was taught many, many years ago in high school and in college, the Constitution was written, and it was sent out to the 13 states, colonies, if you will, at that time. And it came back not ratified, because the Constitution, though in the beginning it says, we the people of the United States, all the Constitution was about government. Just about the government and their power and their authority and what we could do. There was nothing in there about the citizens. The citizens are what make a nation, any country in this world. It's not about the government. And I don't care if it's a socialist country. I don't care if it's a communist country. I don't care if it's a totalitarian dictatorship or a monarchy or a democracy or a republic. It doesn't matter. If it's not for the people, the citizens of that nation, you're nothing. And that is a fact. Because that's why you have a nation. Because you have people. Because you have citizens that want and need and desire and want to do this or go here or whatever. So that's why they make constitutions and Articles of Confederacy, which was, by the way, you can look that up. Articles of Confederacy was our first basic constitution. It didn't work out well, so we didn't keep it. But anyways, so the Constitution was sent back to the Constitutional Congress, and they said, you got to rewrite this thing because there's nothing in here about the citizens and their rights as an American citizen. And they said, oh, okay, well, we got to rewrite this thing? But in the Constitution, there are provisions about making laws and how do you change the Constitution, because, see, our Constitution is a very unique one. See, France has a Constitution also. But a lot of countries have, not most, but a lot of countries have a constitution style of government. You know, we are pretty much a representative democracy or a republic. And if we can keep it, and we're doing our best to do it, folks, we're really fighting hard sometimes to keep a republic, because there are people up there who are doing everything they can to destroy it. And these are the people that represent you in Congress and Senate. And most of them, a lot of them are running for president of the United States, and they're trying to destroy the country from within. And that's the only way you're going to destroy this country, is from within. And we need not give them the satisfaction or the chance. Personally, I'm not a socialist, don't want to be a socialist, not a communist, don't want to be a communist. You know, I'm a centralist, literally. If you're good and you're a Democrat and you're doing something right, I'm going to say you're doing something right. If you're a Republican and you're doing something right, I'm going to tell you you're doing something right. But if you're wrong, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, and this microphone becomes very hot. And I will let everybody in the world know, because people around the world are listening to this podcast now. We've gotten some thanks from individuals, actually, that are serving in our military. And thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies, for my hats off to you. From one veteran to another, thank you for your service, and we can't wait to welcome you home. But regardless of that point, it's our job to tell them no, and we need to stand up against these people. And I mean, you can't destroy us from within. We're not going to let you. So there we go. But anyways, digressing again here. The Constitution, so what they did is the Constitution, ours is unique because it's an expandable, a pliable document. Not like France. France is theirs is a very strict constitution. And if they want to make one change in their constitution, they have to rewrite the whole thing. It's kind of ridiculous. But today with computers, it's easy to rewrite it and do it. But in the days of when the French Revolution in the 1780s came about, they had to handwrite the Constitution, and they keep handwriting it. So now here we are, we have a moldable document, and all we have to do is make an amendment. So to give the rights to the citizens, they made the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, and that's what they're called, the first 10 amendments. You might know them as the Bill of Rights, because these are the rights of the citizens. You can have a government, but if it has all the power, it becomes a totalitarian dictatorship, and you have no voice. So why do I tell you this? Well, because of these arguments that I'm hearing on the internet that I talked about earlier, because of my friends and my family members. They're ending up in Facebook jail because they said the wrong thing about Michelle Obama or Barack Obama or Nancy Pelosi or some other left-winger. And that's what it seems to be about. And I have a family member who actually didn't say anything bad about somebody, but they're having a discrepancy against their government because their government, and this is very weird, I've never heard of this, but there's a government there's a form of government in Georgia. Georgia, yes, the state Georgia, just north of Florida. And they have this thing called a sole councilman form of government, which is absolute power. But according to Baron de Tocqueville of 1780s, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it does. And this guy just goes out and he doesn't. He may have a meeting and people come in, they discuss matters, and he says, okay, well, I'm going to do it my way anyways, and he does. So she is part of a group up there in Georgia that is fighting to get their county, because this is a county issue, to get their county to have commissioners, more than one commissioner, several commissioners or council members with a mayor or a county chairman or whatever they want to do, however they want to work it. But they're trying to get that on the ballot. And there are a lot of people that were writing to her on Facebook and emailing her and saying, how do you do this? Where do we go? And this girl, this young lady who is, I think she's 30. So I don't know how old you are, hon. But she was just giving information on websites. Go to here, go to here, go to here, and show them how this works. And she sent them to the Volusia County government website to look at our charter, because I was the county chairman here, so I know all about our county charter, and I explained it to her, and she says, oh, that's a good place, so it was a good resource for her. She's sending out this information for resource work only, and she got banned on Facebook. She was trying to create a representative democracy within her county, and Facebook banned her. According to what I've understood on the phone, it was permanently banning her. How socialist ridiculous is that? So I say this because it's a direct violation of your First Amendment rights. You've heard that, right? Congress, that I quote, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibit the free exercise thereof. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, you can be a Muslim. Go ahead. You can be a Jew. You can be a Catholic, a Protestant, a Methodist. You can worship whatever you want to worship. Even, and here's the this is the part about having rights. Sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. So if somebody wants to be a Satanist, they can, and they have every legal right to be it. If somebody wants to be an atheist, they have that right. Because believe it or not, atheism is a religion. Even though they say, well, we're not religious. You're very religious. You're just religious in a negative way, as far as I'm concerned. And that's personal opinion. So they have a freedom of religion. That's number one. Yet still within your First Amendment right of freedom, you have or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. Okay? Now that says you get to say whatever you want in writing or verbally on a soapbox in the middle of the town square if you want. If you want to climb the Empire State Building with a megaphone and say whatever you want to say, you have the right to speak your mind. But remember, on the other side of that coin, everybody else has the right to speak their mind. You may not agree with me on some subject matter I may speak about. You may be, you may be so for socialism that you just can't get past the fact that it's a great, wonderful thing. But let me tell you the facts. The facts are socialism doesn't work. I would never support a socialist government, ever. I was a veteran, and I fought against socialist governments. Yeah. So, you may not agree with me. I may not agree with you. But you know what? I will fight to the death for your right to say it. So, take that attitude, folks. Instead of saying, oh, he's wrong, and ban him from our meeting, or ban him from being around me, or whatever. Just remember, there are people like me out there that don't agree with what you say, but we will and have fought to the death for your right to say it. Think that through. Or of the freedom of the press. The freedom of the press was fought for by the veterans, by the citizens of this country, and veterans still to this very day fight for the freedom of the press. Though I will not agree with some of the things CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, all those guys, the lamestream media as I call them, I may not agree with them. But you know what? I have fought to the death for their right to say it. For their right to be there and be this press, the media. I fought for their rights so that they can wake up every morning in their $1 million apartments in New York City and get on their little limos or on the taxi or the subway and go there to their studios and sit in front of a camera after makeup and suits and all that stuff and carry on with what they're going to say. I fought for their right to do that, even though I don't agree with it. And you may not agree with me, but you know what? I fought for your right to not agree with me. Or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That statement alone right there. Let me just say this. The right of the people peaceably to assemble, and I am so disgusted right now with people in New York City who are in the elected positions because they are ignoring the First Amendment right of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, which means that if you are not there peaceably assembling, you may be stopped by whatever force is necessary. I watched it the other night. Law enforcement officers were arresting some guy. He broke the law. They were arresting him. They had to have additional officers just to protect the two officers that were doing the arresting. And these people were interfering. They were stepping through, over, pushing the cops aside, throwing water at them, throwing rocks at them, trying to get video of this stuff. Folks, let me just say this right here and now. You are in direct violation of the federal law because the Constitution is the law of the land and it's a federal law. You have the right to peaceably assemble, but when you start throwing things, the word peaceable is gone. That's right. The word peace is out of the picture. Therefore, I would have said arrest them for interference with the duties of a law enforcement officer, which is a felony, and you would be, I don't know where they would send them, to the Tombs or to wherever they send them in New York. In New York City, you go to jail. You do not collect $200. You do not pass go. You go to jail. And that's where those people need to go when they interfere with law enforcement doing their jobs. And it doesn't matter if it's a city police officer, a county sheriff or his deputies, a state patrolman, an FBI officer, ICE, anybody that has a badge on that is doing their job. Even though you may not know the facts of what's going on, they're probably doing their job. And if they're doing their job and you interfere, you should be laying on the ground, handcuffed right next to the first guy for interference in the duties of a law enforcement officer. And you have the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. In other words, you get to petition the government, go up there and speak with congressmen, senators, vice president, president. You have the right to try to get a meeting with these people. A lot of them are very busy. I've been in many offices, and sometimes the line goes out the door, and you may readdress the grievances that you have with a government issue, whether it's illegal immigration, whether it's drugs, whatever. You can address it to the government. That's your right in the First Amendment to the Constitution. So here it is, folks. If you're doing news or writing a newspaper or doing a podcast, even as I am, and you say things and people don't agree with it, they have the right to disagree with you, and you have the right to disagree with them. And in the government world, that basically what they say is, I guess we will agree to disagree. And that's fine, and move on. According to the First Amendment to the Constitution, if you are in New York City and you are watching some guy get thrown to the ground, arrested, you have no right to interfere. Otherwise, you are in direct violation of the law, and you can go to jail. And I would hope the police commissioner in New York City would tell his officers to arrest them people, put them on the ground, and take them to whatever the Tombs. The Tombs is it's a prison. It's a jail. Take them to the Tombs, or wherever they go nowadays. I think they closed the Tombs. I'm not quite sure. You have those rights. You have a right to go to a mosque. You have a right to go to a Catholic church. You have a right to go to a temple. You have the right to go stand in the backyard, pile a pile of rocks, put a head of lettuce there, and pray to the head of lettuce. You have that right, and nobody can say no to you or do anything about it, because that's your right. But with all rights comes some responsibility, folks. You may have that right to do that, to do whatever you would like to do. Welcome to America. But you do not have the right to impose your will upon me. I am not a Muslim, will not ever be one, and I'm not going to pray to a head of lettuce. That's right. I'm going to do my podcast and give you the facts and the truth, because you're here for the truth. Is that not right?
You can't handle the truth!
And some people can't. But you can disagree with me and send me an email at jasondavispodcast@gmail.com and say, I disagree with your comments. Go right ahead. I will read them and say, well, I'm sorry to hear that, and that will be the end of that conversation. You can agree to disagree with me, and that is fine. Welcome to the freedom of the speech, and freedom of the press. And you, folks, read your Constitution. It's available online. It's all over the place. Read the thing from the archives of the Library of Congress. Do not go get some fluffy, half-baked, cut up, and destroyed version of the Constitution to fit somebody's personal agenda. No, go to the Library of Congress online and look up the United States Constitution. They will actually show you a picture of the one on display. It's a beautiful document. Very, very old. You can tell it's handwritten on parchment. And you can read it. Read it and learn what your rights are, because you will find out that you are probably right now violating the law by doing some of the things that you're doing, by interfering with a law enforcement officer, by actually getting involved in certain issues in Congress. For example, bureaucracies. That's not for Congress to play around with. That's for the president. Those are his offices. Oh, and also maybe you'll find out that it's written in the Constitution that Congress and the Senate are to make a budget and pass a budget every year, not push it off to next year like they've been doing. Oh, maybe you'll learn what an impeachable offense is. Maybe you'll learn that it's written in the Constitution that you will take the oath of office on a Bible. Maybe you'll learn that anybody that says, no, we need to go to Sharia law is guilty of treason. Maybe you'll learn. I don't know. I'm just hoping that someday, maybe just someday, you might use a little common sense.